Well, I don't know. I forget if there was like, yeah, there was like some sensitive topic or something where it's like, oh, probably should clear that up beforehand. Maybe just discussing the audio. Oh well, maybe it'll come to me.
Sensitive topic about what?
Yeah, like super sensitive. It's just like, oh man, can't talk about that on the air.
Like the
That's
Nintendo Switch.
crazy.
Can't talk
Yeah,
about that.
Nintendo Switch can't.
Hot button issue.
We already did.
No.
Oh, actually, that was maybe sort of a thing, but not the thing of just like it sort of happened where like I did listen to this week's like round of podcasts, and there totally was the
Everyone's
everybody's
saying the
talking
same
about
thing.
the Switch and
Yeah.
kind of saying the same thing. So I kind of like maybe just like if we can like try to anticipate that and then have like just at least one topic that isn't like on the beaten path of like, yeah, the battery life and stuff. But do you think you could cleave a man's skull with a Switch controller or something?
Right,
Like just
okay.
like throw something in there. It's like, I don't know if it's got the weight, you know, like if you brought it down at the right angle, maybe like just kind of have some fucked up thing to just kind of make it weird.
Welcome to the Quick Response Podcast.
All right, welcome to the Pixel Response Podcast. Like the beginning stuff.
Yep.
I had a tough time with that last time. I was just like deciding where to jump in.
Yeah.
But
That's the hardest part, honestly.
best not to discuss the last one too extensively.
No.
I thought I had one kind of update on just like I misspoke about something.
Was it the Nintendo Switch? We haven't talked about that 3-minute video enough yet.
Well, I didn't want to have us just commentating on the whole thing,
Uh-huh.
but now we're talking about the show again. So see if you can tell where we cut off. Whatever.
Right.
No, okay. So I saw Shin Godzilla again.
Okay. Where did you go for it?
Eau Claire as well. but
I
it
think
was
that
like-
was the only showing left.
It was the last one, yeah. It just kind of worked out. Like we mentioned that we'd seen it to a friend of mine, and he was like, "Oh, what? It's planned. Like I wanted to see it." It's like I'll see it again. So it just kind of panned out. There was one little plot thing where they do talk about an origin point for Godzilla in this. It's just kind of really fast, and I sort of missed it. So it's like, hey, there's barrels of radiation and all this. Like, yeah. I think I kind of made it sound more mysterious than it probably was. And there is mystery there. But now I'm kind of talking specifically about plot stuff late in the movie. So,
Right.
yeah, I guess I'll just not elaborate on the movie anymore because you haven't seen it yet. I did do some homework, though, from last week. And
Okay,
I watched Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah. I'm interested to know your opinion on this because just for like a little bit of clarification on why this even came up as a thing is that I've been told a few times by Hank, I'm 3D Homer, that it's one of his favorite movies of last year, like period.
Okay.
It might have actually been his favorite movie of last year. And I watched it, and then when I was chatting with him about it, like I watched it recently, like in the last month or two.
Yeah.
And when I was
okay.
chatting with him about it, I was saying that I think that would have made like a better book or something. Like I didn't feel compelled about any of it until the last like third maybe.
Okay.
So that's kind of like where we're standing. I don't think it's bad by any means. I liked parts of it, but I thought it was a little boring for like a visual medium.
I can sort of see that in like
I thought the writing was good. I said that it would probably have been like a great book.
okay. I believe the director / writer has written some books, so
Yeah,
is kind of
that's-
his forte. This is his first
That's what
movie.
he told me too, and I was like, it shows. Like,
Okay.
so
I can only kind of relate to that, and like partway through the movie, I was noticing like, man, a lot of this is shot in like kind of not really close. It's like really zoomed out. Just
Yeah.
kind of all four characters are always in shot, and there's some horses there too and stuff. Like it has kind of a distant thing going on, which was a little weird.
sure.
But I don't know. I thought it started really well and finished really well.
Yeah.
And there is kind of a dreary kind of wandering the desert center part of it, but a lot of the characters kind of gel together during that period, so I was still pretty happy with it. Some like gnarly violence happened a couple times that
Yeah.
I don't know, I was just like, oh god, I didn't really want to see that happen that graphically. A dude gets like cut in half.
Yeah,
And
dude, I
it's
knew
so
what part you're
fucking
talking
crazy.
about.
Yeah, it was just like, oh no. And I was like just cringing around, just like, why? Because there's like some classy stuff earlier where there's like going to be a gnarly surgery on a dude's leg and they just cut. It's just like we don't need to mess with you about that. And then they saved it all for this one moment of just like, no, we're just going to disembowel this guy. And
Like, it was really brutal too because they scalp him and then like,
just start hacking at
well,
his
don't they
center.
just like drive that like through the back of his skull or mouth or something? The like knife.
They put a peg through his mouth, yeah,
Yeah.
and then they just kind of tilt him back, and it's just really a bit. It's a lot.
They cut him like a
but
chicken. Like,
they're savage cannibals though, man. They're troglodytes. They're gonna do some
Right.
bad stuff. Yeah, just like the most monstrous villains, but they kind of justify. It's like, hey, they're not Indians. They're not natives. These are weirdos. Like nobody likes these guys.
like
They're just
even
bad dudes.
the native dudes that
Yeah.
like showed up earlier are just like, these aren't like my people.
There's a character
These are
there to
fucking
kind of
monsters. Like,
other them and just be like, no tribe likes these guys. Don't
Yeah.
lump us in with them, please. Like it's just kind of this little moment there to be like, okay. I don't know. Like there was just little character moments over the course of it that I really like. Like I like everybody marveling at like Matthew Fox's imported spyglass.
yeah,
Wow, I've
yeah.
never seen one of these and just stuff like that. And Richard Jenkins, I was really impressed by. Like, if I'm gonna highlight any one actor, I was really into his character. So I don't know. I had a pretty good time with what it was. Like some horrifying violence aside, I don't know how horror. Like it kind of was, but I've been seeing a lot of like, oh yeah, it's like this Western horror hybrid, and it's like it's mostly a Western.
Yeah,
Like it's
for sure.
that's where most of it goes. But yeah, I don't know. I was pretty pleased with it, but it's really fresh. Like I just watched it, so
Right.
trying to really think
Like
what
today?
else to suss out. Yeah, I watched it
Oh,
today.
okay.
It was like, oh, I had to cram for the test. I was like, oh no, I forgot to watch that. But wait, I still have time, so managed to get in there. And yeah, just like Matthew Fox, Patrick Wilson, Kurt Russell, like good lineup of people, and Richard Jenkins, who I've already mentioned, and I don't know, just yeah, good character detail and a pretty spare story. And like I kind of like the song over the end credits. It's like this really epic, like it's about the thing you just saw happen, like four doomed men heading out into the desert or whatever. But it's I don't know. I thought it was worth sitting through the credits for that. But yeah, so I don't know about like what came out last year. Like I don't know what I'd compare it to, but like I was kind of like, oh, I could see like best supporting actor nomination or something. Like there were some standout qualities for me that put it in a pretty good category. But
Okay. Cool.
yeah. So maybe slightly more positive than you ended up on it, or like I didn't find it like, oh, this just doesn't have a sense of visuals. Like there was some moments where they're staging stuff in the camp that I thought was like when there's those two guys just show up,
Yeah.
like that was a little crazy, but I thought it was kind of well staged.
I guess I just feel like there's a lot of moments like that one in particular and some others where it feels like there's a build and then there isn't. And then when there is a build, it's the end. Like the two, like I guess quote unquote spoilers or whatever. But like when those two guys show up and then they just like shoot them, it's like that was that. And then the next night is like they get attacked again or whatever. It's like you shouldn't have killed those guys. That was that. Like, I don't know. It just seemed like they had a lot of stuff in there that was like, we're just going to throw this in there for right now. And then like,
just like spice up this journey a little bit. With
which I understand because otherwise it'd be a stupidly like boring journey. Don't just
Well,
watch
like,
a few dudes walk.
There's like O'Dwyer's leg is a constant problem, and a lot of it's
Right.
kind of setting up him being lagging behind, which pays off at the end.
For sure.
But I guess I liked how like inauspicious the beginning stuff was, where it's just like, yeah, just small town law enforcement, and then something really crazy happens, and
Yeah.
they're just kind of like, oh crap, we got to go deal with this. Like, it was just kind of, I don't know, just reminder of, yeah, this was before communication. Like, it's just we have to deal with this on our own. There's not really anyone else that could do it, so we got to go. And yeah, just kind of stumbling into something real bad. It had some, I don't know, just good sense of dread or doom or something. So I like that.
Another problem I had is I didn't particularly care about most of them, like the characters, just at all. Richard Jenkins was literally the only one that I was like, you know what? I like this guy. Yeah.
I wasn't really sure what to do with like Matthew Fox's like brooder character. He's just like,
well, he's just a bigot that killed a bunch of Indians, and then they have like a 2-minute backstory thing, and then they don't ever address it.
He's seen a lot of action, shot a lot of people. Like,
I mean, he was Jack Shepherd.
Yeah, that's true. Nice suit. I don't know.
Tell me another tale about the Shepherd.
I like the scene with his horse. That was kind of like, okay. There's just a little extra thing for him. But anyway, yeah, it just serves its characters pretty well. But I was trying to. Okay, here's a bad segue.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. So there's cannibals eating people.
There are.
And I sort of want to discuss something about not eating anything at all. It's a weird subject to go to, but hunger strikes. You're
on a hunger strike again? Remember what happened last time?
No. Can I borrow your ear for a second and just kind of...
Yeah.
How do you feel about hunger strikes? When you hear somebody's going on a hunger strike, what is your immediate kind of like reaction?
Lol, I'm going to get a burger.
Okay. So
like,
kind of...
I don't know. I think it's kind of a pretentious thing to say.
Okay. That you're going on a hunger strike? Like, that's kind of inherently...
This is a thing, right?
Prideful.
We live in a world of first world problems. That's just our state right now, right?
Yeah.
That, like, I can't take people seriously in my daily life that say they're on a hunger strike. I just can't, because it's like, what's so bad that, you're going to starve yourself? Did somebody not follow you on Twitter? Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Now this is where you're going to tell me like a totally legitimate reason I'm going to feel like an asshole, just like the old days.
That's the thing. I've been wrestling with like my own feelings on it since Sunday night when I read about a recent one that's happening. It's concluded now. But yeah, it kind of struck me the exact same way. It was just like, oh, shut up. What are you talking about? Like, I just got really reactive to it. And then I was like, all right. Just like, what's going on? Why does this happen?
Yeah,
like,
can I get a little backstory here? Okay. I don't know what you're talking about at all, honestly.
This specific one, which, I mean, this is the exact thing of, like, me complaining about this has also informed people about this hunger strike, like, several times. So it's doing its job of, like, it got me to click and it's gotten me to talk about it. Okay. But it's also, like, I've had to think through just the whole thing, this whole avenue of human expression or whatever. So in Newfoundland, Labrador... There's a big development going on to build a hydroelectric dam at Muskrat Falls.
It's a terrible name, but sure, yeah.
Yeah. Billions of dollars. It's this big project. There is he's a sculptor. He's a native man named Billy Gauthier, I believe.
Okay. What has he done for me recently, though?
He nothing. Like he went on a hunger strike and got his way.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. He was kind of heading up this protest against the development there, specifically because if they flood the land for this dam right now, it will likely increase the amount of methyl mercury in the fish there, and then they won't be able to eat them anymore. So
who gives a fuck?
Okay, yeah.
Tell them go down to the Carl's Jr. and get a fucking double cheeseburger with animal fries.
grocery stores or something. Yeah, this was kind of my initial like, what are you talking about? Just don't do that. Like, just don't do that now. Like that, whatever. But that's, dismissive, I suppose.
Totally.
There's a way around it though, which is just kind of like, well, if they clear the land properly, that won't happen. Like that side effect probably won't happen.
It's going to cost like billions
expensive.
though.
Yeah, that's more expensive. Obviously the company wouldn't want to do that. So it's kind of just this thing. But it's just like, well, I tend to sort of sympathize with, hydroelectricity sounds like a good idea. So I was kind of like on the other side of this one, where it's like when I hear about like, oh, well, Gandhi did it. It's like, well, yeah, but they were like killing people. So
this is the thing, right? Is that I side on whatever will progress us as a species more than like a dude can't get some fish wah for a bit.
Like 1,000 people or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very like niche thing of just like, well, this one group of people has these hunting rights and they prefer fishing here and they can't do that anymore. So they're really upset about it. But that doesn't really matter to most people in the area. So it's really, it does seem kind of.
Wait, even in the area of all this happening, people are like, whatever, man. That's great. That's really good.
What do you mean? Like Newfoundland, Labrador? Oh.
The people of that area like don't even really care. It's only like this guy and whatever like group he's with.
Well, it's some number of people. It's I'm probably glossing over details. It's the Muskrat Falls stuff if people want to read into the specifics. But yeah, it was definitely it was the catalyst for me to kind of like read into like why does this work? Like why do people kind of self-harming themselves because they're upset about a decision? Why does that compel anyone to do anything other than phone like, the mental hospital and just be like, this person's going crazy and not taking care of themselves. Can we do something about it? Like that just seems to be the rational response to me.
Right.
But
or like just let him fucking die then. Like who cares?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I guess that's that's a dishonorable thing to do. Like you can't do that. Like, but it just feels like a kind of weird debate tactic where you kind of box the other person into an impossible position where it's just like, well, if you don't agree with my perspective, then I'm gonna hurt myself.
It's like
what are you gonna do with that?
It's like suicidal people that like call the cops or whatever and have a gun to their head or something, right? Like the cop can't shoot them, but like they have to just like talk them down or whatever. It is like a gross negotiating tactic or something. It's weird.
I don't know. Yeah, somehow it appeals to some sort of human sympathy and just it makes things really difficult for the other party. So reading about it, it seems to kind of work in societies where hospitality is like a virtue. Uh-huh. So a lot of this happened in Ireland. Like IRA dudes would often do this. And then I'm just like, well, I guess Canada fits that bill too of just like, we want to be polite and like helpful. So if you're kind of freaking out, we feel responsible. Like, it's like,
okay,
oh sure. No, I've upset this person so much that they're doing this. I don't know what to do. I don't want that. All right, fine. I guess we'll spend another $1 billion on this thing or whatever. Like, it's just kind of like, please don't do that. And I don't know. It was really frustrating to me to kind of like weigh that and just consider what it would be like to be on the receiving end of a protest like that and just be like, I have no move to like, I can't do anything because they cheated. Like they pulled this weird sympathy card and there's nothing we can do without looking like monsters. So,
but I mean, if you're a corporation, you kind of have to be a monster.
I guess, but
because people are the worst. People are stupid, and the bulldozer should have drove over this guy's body. I mean, if he's on a hunger strike, he's probably not full of food. It's probably going to be pretty easy. That's all I'm saying.
But that's the thing. It's like, oh, well, they're in a weakened state. That's not an honorable fight. Like, that's not a fair fight for you to win.
Right, but they chose that way.
It's so, I know, but
like if somebody says like fists at noon, I'm going to bring a gun.
Oh, what?
Because I'm going to win. Winning is honorable.
All right.
It's not my fault he didn't say pistols at noon.
Yeah, like I won up the fight. I changed the game.
Right.
No, I don't.
This is exactly why, like, World War III is going to start, too. But anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was just reading through kind of other cases and stuff and just kind of trying to wrap my head around this thing that people do sometimes. But hey, I don't know. I guess the premier's office got tons of phone calls and they kind of reciprocated. And
so what is he... Like, legitimately, what is the idea behind a hunger strike? Is it just that, like, the people that care about you are going to care and then spread the word, and the people that care about them? Like, is it just try to get, like, viral marketing in a time with social media when that's probably the easier way?
I think it's got to be kind of one of those things where it's like, well, it raises awareness. Like, it did work on me, right? Like, I read, a hunger strike, what? And, like, clicked on it, so I was now aware of this whole situation. Yeah, just kind of that protesting mentality of like, well, you can't do anything now because the whole world's watching, like that kind of attitude. So it's non-violent because you're not attacking the people who are the aggressor in the situation.
It doesn't sound like there was an aggressor, though. There was a company that bought the rights to do a thing, and then they're like, we don't like this, and then pouted, and then stopped eating.
Well, it seems like...
they didn't kick anybody out of their home or anything, it sounds like.
No, and the land would still be fishable, just it would potentially have this mercury problem. So, yeah.
Like, let's cut the crap. Every fucking fishery has a mercury problem. There's no fish you eat these days without mercury. So that guy can get fucked. He's an idiot.
Well, I mean, this is where I jumped onto the story, was where it already got to this state. I only hope there was like other efforts made before it got to this point where it's like, well, we tried a letter writing campaign, we tried occupying City Hall or whatever, like other things.
And this was the first step.
The last step.
Oh, it was the last step.
Well, that's what I mean. It was the last step because now it's over. But yeah, if someone's just pulling this card like right off the bat, it's like, what? They're doing what? All right, hunger strike. Like, I was kind of joking about that on the way home. I'm just like, well, if, I'm just not going to eat supper tonight, and then I can get on this Wikipedia list of, I'll just choose some cause.
It's totally like a childish thing, too. If you're, like, mad at your parents, it's like, come down for supper. No.
Well, the child thing, it was like, I'm going to hold my breath until you agree to take me to Chuck E. Cheese or something. Like, that just seems like that kind of childlike attitude.
Right. And then you're like, okay, have fun suffocating, you fucking idiot.
It's like, well, joke's on you. You'll pass out and then you'll automatically start breathing. So go ahead.
Idiot. Whatever. Jeez, kids are so dumb. I'm so glad I'm smarter than every kid I've ever known. Anyway.
But I don't know. I'm not sure where to like conclude on it. I'm sure there's... But actually, okay, part of it was also thinking like, is there any cause I have?
I was going to ask you this.
Strongly enough. Okay, like, and I came up with this kind of weird, jokey example on the way home from... I was in Edmonton yesterday.
Why? Or is that personal?
No, just a business trip kind of thing. My wife was on a business trip. I tagged along so I could go to West Ed.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, it was gross. No, it wasn't. I had pretty good pub food.
I hate Edmonton.
Oh, okay.
And I hate that drive.
All right, well.
Yeah.
That's not what this is about.
No, that's not at all.
So I was like, well, what do I love? What do I love?
Yeah,
Video games and movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, what if Gabe Newell was just like, all right, I'm deleting everything on Steam. All of it. I'm just going to delete it all. All the games. I'm going to be shutting it down.
Okay.
And you're just like, what?
I mean,
no.
Humble Store and GOG would be like so fucking happy. But yeah.
Sure. So it's just like, oh no, all my games. You can't do that.
Sure.
Maybe that's something where it'd be like, hey, I'm going to appeal to Gabe Newell's love of a big sandwich.
I knew this is where it was going. I knew it.
Get him to empathize a little bit with like, oh man, I love food. And that dude cares so much about these damn video games that he's going to not eat food to challenge what I'm doing. You know what? That has moved my heart. I will not do that. Like that kind of situation.
Mr. Newell, sir, there's somebody on a hunger strike. What do you mean?
Explain this concept to me. I don't understand.
What is hunger?
Exactly.
Bring me the
So-
Half-Life team.
Yeah, this is the thing that will like teach this lesson to Mr. Newell, and he will, feel bad and let me keep all my video
It's
games.
it's
Like,
what'll make
it's a
his heart
dopey-
3 times that size that day or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if there's any kind of like super villain kind of people out there. Like, it just seems like, well, these are just people doing their jobs. It's a lot less boring and it's a lot more boring and a lot less villainous, likely, than it is in your head that you're at this point where you're like rebelling in this way.
Sure.
So even then, yeah, like I don't really see many situations cropping up where I would be pushed to that point. But I mean, it's a desperation thing, right? Like, if you're in a shitty prison and the food is terrible and you're dying, like, you don't have many ways of like expressing
Hunger strike,
discontent.
yeah.
So you might as well hunger strike. Like, there's situations where it's like, okay.
There's
You have
definitely
no
situations
options.
where if you're in the care of somebody, like if you're an older person and you're in an old folks home or whatever, if you're in a prison where there are people legally obligated for your well-being, a hunger strike is super powerful, I think.
Right. And that's actually a thing I was reading. Is like, well, force feeding is actually that is usually considered a form of torture or something now.
Yeah,
Because you're like
totally.
violating that person's decision.
Oh, for sure.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah. But like on some level, it sounds like it's like, what do you mean? You're like giving them food. They need food. But it's like, well, but they have mentally decided that they are not doing that. So you can't force against their will. You can't do that.
I think in
So-
those cases, a lot of times they just feed it, like in a hospital setting, for example, in a coma patient or something that can't eat. They just kind of put like a
IV or something.
IV in. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was just like this weird dilemma-filled situation where it was just like, what do you do with this? Because I've encountered it in other media. Like, I saw that movie Hunger, which was about an IRA strike, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Michael Fassbender's in it, and I just didn't know what to make of it because it's just like, why would you do that? I just don't get it. Like, I just kind of I didn't really confront it when I watched that movie. So just kind of hearing about a Canadian case made me kind of reconsider the topic. So I don't know. I just wanted another take on it, and just maybe I'm,
It's a little rude,
not
too.
grasping it. But
Because, like, if they shut this thing down, like, how many people are now out of a job?
like 1,500 or something.
Like, you're forcing 1,500 people on a permanent, and their families on a permanent hunger strike because you shut this thing down. Congratulations, fucking idiot.
I wasn't really sympathizing with the party that was the center of the story, so I was kind of.
Does this guy have an email or a Twitter that I can harass?
Well, I
I'm
don't
on the
encourage
internet.
that.
That's the only way to get what I want, right?
No, you can hunger strike, and then that was the one
Right.
thing. I was like so worked up about this issue. My other joke answer was like, "Well, I'm going to do a hunger strike to end hunger strikes. Like, no more hunger
Right.
strikes after this hunger strike.
Right.
You all have to stop because I'm on hunger strike." Like, just kind of like try to reverse it that way. But no,
Life doesn't work that way, though.
apparently not. And yeah.
And you know what? Maybe it shouldn't. Maybe it shouldn't take a hunger strike to end hunger strikes.
No, it probably shouldn't. But yeah, that was that kind of thing. It was nagging me the last couple days.
Fair
but
enough.
Trying to think what other
Souls.
businesses
Are you
bubbled
back
up.
in Souls?
I am not back in Souls. I actually started Dragon Age Origins this week. I got the Ultimate Edition.
What origin did you pick?
Dwarf Commoner.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I'd already like started this game a couple times. I played like a human mage or something, and a knight, like just a human well-to-do, like a noble or something.
Yeah.
I actually found the dwarf commoner story more compelling, I think, but it might also just be I'm in a determined state to actually play this game properly this time.
Okay.
So
So you're like
just kind of
listening to all the dialogue and like reading the story options and stuff like that. You're in.
just kind of
Yeah.
more commitment to seeing this through this time. But just that kind of street rat castless, you're in a bad position in the you're not even part of the regular dwarf society. People hate you, that kind of thing. And then be like, oh man, I get to go to the surface now and go on an adventure. This is great. Like that was kind of a liberating moment there when you finally join the Grey Wardens and all that stuff. I kind of like that.
Oh, did you do the part with the Grey Wardens and like all? I mean,
the intro stuff. Or,
I don't want to say anything, not to spoil other people, but to spoil you on anything.
The King's Dead. Like
yeah, okay.
I mean, yeah,
so
yeah.
You did that, all of that stuff, and now you met up with Morgan then.
Yeah, Morgan's in my party. A couple other people. Like this weird priestess person from the Chantry.
Yeah, that's oh my god, what's her name now? It's been years since I played it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this big tough dude who was locked up. I also got him in my party.
That guy's pretty dope. He does
my dog
some damage.
Barf. I named him Barf because Spaceballs.
Yep.
So I don't know. I am playing the 360 version, so it is a little chunkier looking, but I don't really want to focus on that because I elected to play this version. So
I mean, that's the one that I played through too because I got all the DLC for it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, like this version has all that stuff too. I don't know. Generally enjoying it so far. The control scheme's a little stacked up because it's not on a PC, but again, that's just because of the platform I chose. So I'm trying to think really what to like. You can kind of approach the story in the order you want in regards to which army do you rally to your cause first. Is
Leliana.
Oh, okay.
It's, I believe, who you were talking about.
Anyways. Oh, the Chantry person? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, can you go to whichever army you want to summon in whatever order? Like, it's pretty free reign that way?
It's one of those things that, like, you're going to talk to, like, all of them at some point. You can do whichever, whenever.
Does it impact anything if you delay one over the other or something? Like, does it...
Not that I remember, no.
Okay. I don't know. Trying to.
The biggest problem I had with that game, honestly,
as much time as I wanted, but
was the caves. They just felt too boring because it's too similar. Like the cave levels.
Like, is there dungeons that are just caves, or?
Yeah, like when you start off as a dwarf, how there's like the deep road or whatever.
Oh, okay.
You'll eventually, like, one of your quests or whatever, you'll go through it. And it's just the most boring part of that game to me. It ends cool, though, so there's that at least.
Just a lot of similar looking corridors.
I mean, it's caves, yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's kind of boring, but that's the only thing I remember being, like, a super bummer for me in that playthrough. So you're enjoying it, though?
Generally, the combat's a little... I don't know. I ended up setting it on normal mode. I thought about putting it on casual because I'm mostly interested in the story, but I decided to go normal mode, and I'm glad I have because most of the battles so far have actually been kind of just cakewalks. I don't know if I'm doing something like... I don't know. It's just really working out most of the time, and it kind of doesn't make for the most exciting gameplay here and there.
I did find that later on, like,
some of the fights get more challenging, or
you can bump up the difficulty as well at any time, I believe. But I do remember later on being like, "Oh, okay," and like pausing the game and setting like, "Okay, when you get to like 20% health, you're gonna pop a potion or whatever. When you do this, you're gonna protect this person." Like, I did find myself getting to a point in that game where I was using the tactics like a lot. And it was kind of dope, though, because it would be like a fight would start. I would pause. I kind of assess the situation as like, okay, I've seen these guys before. I know what they're going to do. And I know this is going to be kind of a pain in the ass. Set up like how this is all going to go. And then like when I push play again, it's just like this automated thing almost. It must be the same thing people like about that new NFL career mode in that NFL game that came out, the Madden one, where you can just like watch the AI like beat each other after you like make some changes and stuff.
But you're coaching essentially, like you're.
I think so, something like that. Yeah, so it must be that same satisfaction, only with like swords and mages and rogues and stuff, and not like dudes throwing around an egg essentially.
I may find it a little weird that your character doesn't talk,
Yeah.
just because, like, I kind of like how Mass Effect has a written character for you that is participating with everything. But I guess with all the different origins, maybe that would be a lot of stuff to ask at that point. You know, like, what is that, 6 or 12
Yeah.
permutations?
It's weird. And
So-
in Inquisition, if you get to that point, your character does.
Okay.
So,
I started that, but I don't know. Maybe I feel like I should play earlier entries and get a sense of the world.
I agree. You should.
So it was a bit daunting when I looked at that. I just wasn't really getting pulled in.
Right.
But yeah, this has been okay.
You've played a good
I wish I
amount,
put
then.
more time in it. Nah, like 6 hours, something like that.
That's that's a decent amount, though. Like, when you said, like, I started it, I was expecting, like, yeah, I finished my origin area, and, like, I'm going to meet the Grey Wardens or something.
No. Yeah, I kind of... It was a good session, I suppose. There's definitely... Oh, yeah. There was some more film stuff, actually, this week, I remembered.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how to... I am of the opinion
Yeah.
that Jack Reacher is kind of a good movie.
The first one.
The first one.
I was totally okay with it, especially
Yeah.
because I watched it at work, so
Okay.
I needed
So it
something to
just
do
fit
anyway.
The bill. It was.
It's that type of movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not trying to be anything exciting. I'd consider it kind of like a hamburger. You know, it's dependable. It's fine.
I mean, I really like hamburgers a lot.
Okay.
So
Well, it's not an amazing hamburger, but it's all right.
I'm going to say it's a pizza. You just get it when you don't want to go out.
Sorry. Okay. Bad example. It's a pizza. What was
Actually,
I?
it's more like a pineapple. Anyways.
When you really get down to it, it's a little more like a pineapple. You're right.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
so Jack Reacher Never Go Back is kind of a bad movie. It's not very good.
Okay.
I was kind of disappointed by that, just because it didn't seem like the tallest order to fill. It's just like, hey, just give me
Just be
another little
competent.
mystery, just another action adventure for Jack Reacher. That's fine. Yeah, I don't know. It's Edward Zwick, who he's the director of Blood Diamond and Last Samurai. Like, I don't know.
So was it stupidly heavy-handed then?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
okay.
was some like sentimental weird stuff, and I wasn't expecting that in a Jack Reacher movie.
Right.
Like, they tack on like a daughter character essentially, and he's rolling with this military lady, Susan Turner. But like she's pretty core to the thing going on. But yeah, it's just kind of this like dysfunctional family of hard asses is the thing, and that should be kind of funny, but it was just kind of not what I wanted. And there's just no real standout action sequence. Like, there's no like muscle car or car chase like the first movie. It's just there's a couple fist fights, some chases around New Orleans or something, but I don't know. It felt like a TV show or something. Like, just a real small scale episodic, like, nothing too exciting going on. And that was kind of a bummer, because I kind of want more Jack Reacher stuff to happen. Like, I want it to be successful enough to warrant more of it, provided they do better. It has like James Bond potential of just like, who this character is. He's going to go on an adventure. There's a crazy villain. First movie is Werner Herzog. There's nobody that matches that in this movie. It's like there's a henchman that kind of goes crazy. That's as close as you get, like,
Right.
to a villain to face off against.
It actually feels more like a Bourne that I want to watch,
Sure.
because I don't
guess. 'Cause
particularly
I
love
kinda
Bourne.
hate those after a point.
Okay.
And I have my Matt Damon beef because Good Will Hunting and everything, but
Right.
I like Bourne Identity, and then kind of past that movie, it's just diminishing. Like, it's just I don't really think they ever got it again. Yeah, I don't know, but sure, just kind of this guy knows what he's doing. There's fast cuts, punching dudes, and all that kind of stuff. Like, there just isn't much stuff to really love in the second movie, so I don't know. Disappointing. And it's hard to talk about 5 out of 10, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Just,
Right.
I was disappointed. Jack Reacher, Never Go Back.
I mean, you were disappointed, but it's not horrible. It's not the worst
Yeah, it
way to
wasn't
spend
horrible.
like your time.
Yeah, but I was kind of like wanting to enjoy it so much more than it was providing. Like I was just grasping at any little scene that was remotely good and just being like, well, I kind of like that, and just kind of, yay, that was kind of funny. But generally,
See, to me, the
lackluster.
best I would hope for this movie, seeing Jack Reacher 1 and kind of knowing what I want in that, is a 7. So losing 2 points for me is kind of okay. Whatever.
Okay. Yeah, like at best, Jack Reacher's a 7, and this is not that. So, and yeah,
Right.
it shouldn't have been hard, but they didn't make it. So, yeah. Brand new movie, though. So I thought
Yeah.
I should bring it up.
Yeah, for sure. Was that the only movie?
That was the only new movie, other than Shin Godzilla again,
Right.
which still great. It's,
How do you
still-
feel about haunted houses?
not very positively.
Okay. What's your problem with them?
I don't like being scared.
Okay.
I don't like it's
But in
pretty-
general, what about the idea of a haunted house? Not saying that like we should go to one or whatever, because I don't particularly love going through them either.
Okay.
But like,
I mean, I guess it's
you think
a
they're
solid
okay?
idea. It's like, oh, it's like participatory theater or something. It's kind of fun idea, but
Do you feel they should be completely banned because one person got outraged?
outraged?
Yeah.
Like outraged how? Like scared? Or
No.
morally opposed to like demons and
Well, they're morally opposed to a lot of haunted houses do like mental ward, psych ward, like mental patient thing or whatever, where there's like psychos and like I don't know, like a what's it called, a wheelchair shaking around or like mocking people, just being creepy, right?
so some haunted asylum or something. People are
No,
opposed to-
apparently this guy got all pissy because his son, who was schizophrenic, got killed by like a cop or something when he was being all schizo-y. So because his son got killed
yeah.
because of like his condition, which is terrible,
Mm-hmm.
he thinks that haunted houses shouldn't use mental patients as like a thing they do and should be shut down completely.
If they have that as their theme.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's
So,
certainly
Now let me ask you something.
okay.
Just this year, my grandfather died. My grandmother's probably pretty close. She's up there in age. Should I be outraged that people use zombies? Because they're
just
corpses.
dead people. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Or I was like I'm offended by The Visit now because it's making old people scary. Like I thought that's
Sure.
might be where
I
it's going
liked
or something.
Resident Evil, but since I have people that have died in my family, I'm pissed off that they would use corpses.
It's pretty disrespectful to corpses.
It's pretty
true.
disrespectful.
I get what you're like. It's censoring this large category. Like it's painting with a broad brush because of a specific example that happened, and
Right.
it's obviously personally very distressing to you, but kind of governing other people based on that does seem a bit
What if my first
odd.
love was a vampire and she broke up with me? I would obviously never want to see vampire stuff again and should ban everything that is. I guess what my thing is that when I heard this story, my mind just snapped. And
okay.
I was just
you got pretty mad at this guy.
not this guy. I was just instantly sick about people complaining about shit that doesn't affect them, really. Like, and trying to get like other people shut down. I know this has been going on for a while,
Yeah,
but it snapped when I heard this. I was just like, man, I was so mad. I was in a foul mood all day. It was really
it's a little
bad.
weird because it like kind of affects him because he does have this very personal situation that happened, but he doesn't need to go to a haunted house.
This is it.
And that's where that should cut off, right? Like it
This
should
is
be
it.
like, I want to shut these down now because I'm so upset and I need some avenue to express that and let people know
Right.
that this is offensive to me. Like
I think
yeah.
people should just stop being offended by like menial shit when it's not even them being like called out. It's not like the creators of this haunted house that he went to or whatever that like this happened and he got all pissy about it. It's not like they're like, hey, like fucking Joe Bob or whatever the fuck his name was. Like, we put this in just for you because we know about your son. Enjoy. Like, it wasn't anything
Yeah, they
against
weren't
him.
being. It's like, what was his last name? All right, we're just gonna stitch it onto the straight jacket here and put it into
Oh,
our
man.
thing. It's like, whoa, that's really rude. Why would you do that? Like, they're not doing that.
That
They're
is
just-
actually too far, but yeah, I know.
no, but that's what you're saying. I just
No,
chose
totally.
a more specific illustration.
I really
but
like
yeah.
your illustration better.
Okay,
Yeah. I don't know,
I
man.
hadn't heard about this, but yeah, that does sound a bit
I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it.
censorship. I guess I don't know what you really
No,
call it.
not
But-
even really that. Just people like getting sand all up in their vaginas about everything.
So is his like movement or petition or whatever getting any traction? Like, is this
I don't like
threatening on
this
his
is the
house
thing
phone?
is that like I read the thing and then I didn't even look it up to talk about it right now because I don't actually want to give this guy any like
Okay.
well you could just Google his name, like I don't care, but
Okay.
I think there's like some people that are signing it because there's this whole thing about Halloween these days anyways, and I don't know how much you know about this, but there's like this whole cultural appropriation bullshit where like there are straight up campuses now that like are doing things like on Halloween. If you like need somebody to talk to because you're super offended that guy wore like a sombrero and a Mexican poncho for his costume, you can come talk to us. Like
Okay.
people
So wait, but
are
there's just
such
counseling
fucking pussies.
for it. Like, it's just like, hey, we're just finding your triggers, man. We're just sussing it out.
Yeah.
Like, turns out you don't like that. We're not going to go over to that guy and rip up his sombrero. You can just come talk to us about it. That
Yeah.
seems fair. That doesn't seem that crazy.
No, that is
You know, like, I
crazy.
walked
You
out
should
of
not
Cuba-
give people the opportunity to be a little bitch. There is definitely things people should be able to talk to other people about. Being offended that somebody is like wearing a poncho is not one of them. Or even blackface or something. Like, whatever happened to just looking at a dude who's being an idiot and saying that guy's a fucking asshole and then walking away?
Yeah. Instead of social media, I don't know. I don't know. What,
Yeah, I think it's
like,
social
everybody
media.
became capable of publishing their thoughts to other people.
Yeah.
And then once it gets traction, like, just like, what? They said that to you at the drive-thru? And then it just becomes this thing.
And then
Like,
it's
you
just
can't do
making
that.
people think that their opinions matter.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, they don't. Like, straight up, nobody's opinion matters, except for maybe, like, Donald Trump or whoever's going to be in the presidency. Because
Apparently, it's getting some traction, so...
we're not going to get into that. But,
No.
yeah.
But hey, okay, fine. Let's like alter course. Speaking of
Yeah, yeah.
Halloween, I actually remembered I watched the Addams Family movies. Like,
Oh, both of them.
Yeah, both of them. Addams Family and Addams Family Values, starring Raul Julia and Angelica Houston.
This is because I talked about it on the Beastcast.
Well, we do have them just sitting here on Laserdisc, but that was the catalyst, probably. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it put it back in the conversation
Sure.
for us. So it was just kind of, hey, I'd never seen them. Have you?
Oh.
I'm assuming you have.
Yeah.
Barry Sonnenfeld directed them, early 90s, 91, 93, respectively.
I
enjoyed them
remember
both.
not getting it. I was really young.
Oh, just not getting the humor?
Like, I got some of it, like, they're dead, and, like, weird, morbid,
I don't know
dark
that
comedy
they're dead.
jokes or something. But,
They
like,
love death, but...
they do love death.
Yeah, they're odd in terms of just, like, a lot of these jokes are just kind of morbid or just... But some of them were weird. It's just like, so are they dead? Because they just seem to be cutting each other. And it's just like, no, that was just a fake. They just scared all those people. That was fake blood. Well, I know it was fake blood because of the movie.
No, I
but
don't.
Was it fake in the story? It was just like, I don't know. That's not clear to me.
I mean, the Addams Family are basically the monsters, right? Like,
it's similar. They were actually apparently very contemporary shows. They were airing at the same time.
that's really weird to me.
The
But,
60s, yeah.
like, what I'm getting at is that the concept isn't about, like, a weird kooky family so much as it's, like, they're kooky
Monsters
because
or
they're
something.
fucking dead. And that's why
I don't
they're...
know that that's the thing. They just love death and opposites, essentially.
I mean,
Like,
they might not all be dead. I'm sure
yeah,
some
I
of them
don't-
are.
Maybe, but
I wonder if
That's not.
Wikipedia would have anything about this. But
They have
continue.
a lot of stuff about Adam's family, but it doesn't necessarily like spell out what's going on with their living. I don't know. They're billionaires. They have lots of uh, gold doubloons hidden in their vault. That's kind of the whole thing of the first movie. I like the first movie more, I think, just because it has a more like focused plot.
Totally. I'm with you.
What's going on with Fester? Like, where did he go? And then there's this doppelganger who's trying to con them, but maybe he is Fester. It's Christopher Lloyd either way, so I was really happy that it was about him essentially, and he was in it a bunch. And yeah, just kind of, I don't know. It had a more coherent thing going on. The second movie had some really inspired moments, but it's kind of got 3 plot lines going on. It's like the kids go off to camp. There's this gold digger lady that's trying to like marry Fester, and then what was, I guess, just the family dealing with Fester's not here, and kind of just spinning their wheels. Like, oh, they have a baby, they have a new baby, and they're dealing with that. So I don't know. They're some of my favorite moments of the 2 movies probably were in the second movie, specifically some of the camp stuff I thought was really great, but. Anyway, I don't know. Good production design, generally good music until the end rap theme songs for both. They're terrible.
Okay.
Like it's MC Hammer of the first movie and Tag Team in the second one. And the second song is all that's in my memory now because it was so bad. It was essentially just a repurposing of Whoomp, There It Is, but with the Addams Family just like inserted into the lyrics. So check it out if you want to have a Sonic experience. It was really not good, but kind of endearingly terrible. So perfect. But yeah, I'm struggling to kind of think through what to say. Like a lot of the jokes.
So Fester's been gone for 25 years in this movie. Sorry, yeah. Dude,
I don't think he's dead though. He's just weird.
Well, he hasn't.
Weird.
They had never aged though.
No, that's not true. They show flashbacks of Gomez and Fester as little kids.
Yeah, when they were alive.
Well, it is like 1920s looking footage, so I kind of see what you mean. But yeah, I don't know.
If somebody's listening to this, write in and tell me if you have proof either way.
Living or zombies or just undead, strange things. I don't know. But
because I actually can't find an answer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not. They don't seem to quite fit. They're just a morbid, goth-loving family. They just like gloomy, morbid jokes, and also sort of torturing each other. Like Pugsley is put in an electric chair and electrocuted in the first movie, and it's just a joke. Like nothing happens to him. It's
right, because he's dead.
Like dynamite's blowing up and Fester's fine. Like stuff like that does happen where it's just like, well, it's kind of cartoony, so it's just slapstick, madcap craziness. So maybe that's why he's fine. But on occasion, it does get weird. Like there was stuff with the baby in the second movie.
The original Pugsley died last year, or 2 years ago, December 7th, 2014.
There you go. Pour one out. And
so he's actually dead.
Yes.
Okay. Anyways,
but they just put a baby under a guillotine in the second movie. And that's just a joke. That's just a scene that happens.
Yeah.
And then he just catches the blade, I guess, and nothing bad happens. But it still just was like, they just drop him off a building. Like, just stuff happens that's the joke, is this baby, like, the kids hate it, sibling rivalry, and we're gonna do all this crazy stuff.
Right.
So, I don't know. It got some laughs. I was pretty happy with it. But with both of them, really.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know. I endorse them, whatever that means. It fit the season. We had to watch both of them, or like not at all. I guess it was just
right.
It's Halloween time. It fits the vibe, and they're pretty funny. So yeah. That's all I really have about that. Well, I guess I was reading about like why did Raul Julia die, and then went down that kind of weird.
Because he played what's his name, Bison.
And Bison, yeah,
that
was his last role.
Yeah.
But maybe in a way it might have been like, yeah, he was kind of pushing himself too hard because he had just had stomach surgery, so he was already in kind of a weakened state.
Sure, it's the role that killed him.
Stroke. He just didn't have the like stamina to deal with it, so it was kind of tragic stuff.
What a role to be your last, too, right?
He
For,
does
like,
a great job, though. Like, it's a corny ass movie, but I was pretty happy with it.
what a role.
Yeah.
Raul Julia dying was probably the most sad and important day of your life. For him, it was Wednesday.
Exactly.
I don't actually know what day he died. I was trying to
Tuesday,
Google
I
it.
think, was the joke in the
The joke in the movie is Tuesday.
Yeah.
I was trying to look up the day he
Tuesday,
died, like in real life.
Yeah.
But my Google foo wasn't ready.
Okay. Sorry to do that. I think that really might be all the movie stuff that happened for me.
I have an interesting question to pose to you if we're on a little bit of Halloween talk with the Addams Family and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked in Discord the other day, I'm having, like, what did he say? He said something along the lines of having a bunch of friends over and we're going to do, like, a movie marathon sort of thing. What movie should I watch? So there's a few suggestions we gave. Cabin in the Woods was one that somebody gave. I really, really like Return of the Living Dead for just, like, a fun, schlocky watch to watch with, like, a group of people.
Okay.
What are some, like, horror movies you would recommend for somebody, like, say, not just like you and me, let's say we were getting like 5 to 10 people together, pack in, we're gonna like order 5 pizzas or something, spend the whole night watching weird movies in a group and chatting over it.
Okay. I think one, it might fit. It's not exactly horror, but it's kind of thriller, I guess, but it has horror overtones. It's not a great movie, but it's kind of a great, like, for this purpose of just like kind of trying to figure out what's going on and whatever. Identity with John Cusack.
Identity. That's a good one,
and
actually.
Ray Liotta. Like, it's just a whodunit of sorts. So you're just kind of like, oh, like who's the killer and all this kind of stuff. And it just has a pretty good cast and it's reasonably well made. Like, I just like that movie. It's good. It's good watching. It's not amazing, but it kind of has that. It serves this role, I think.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else really fits that bill of just like, it's just entertaining.
I can't remember who suggested Cabin in the Woods. I thought that was a really good one. Like, that's a good, solid choice.
I suppose, yeah. Do you think Evil Dead 2 would work? Or is it too goofy?
No, totally.
Okay.
Totally. I don't think Evil Dead 1 would work.
Movies. Yeah, like it's too actually kind of bad. So
I think the Evil Dead remake would be okay too.
Would be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I only saw it the one time. I just remember it's like actually kind of gnarly here and there.
There's a lot of blood. I mean, it literally rains it, but you know.
But it doesn't have like as much a comic tone to it, so it might actually bother some people if there's squeamish people coming.
You know what? That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's where it's like,
yeah,
there's some murder and mayhem and identity and stuff, but it's generally pretty fun. Like, it's not gonna traumatize anybody. Like, there's not gonna be some guy scalped and cut in half in some gnarly fashion. So don't watch Bone Tomahawk as part of this.
It also, really got to you.
It's gross, dude.
It is gross.
But, I mean, I liked Bone Tomahawk. That would not be a good choice for this because it does have that kind of slower pace to it. That would not be the kind of movie for this situation. Like, Rosemary's Baby's great. Not for this. Shining's not for this either, I would say. What's got that? It's got some pep.
I don't mind The Exorcist for this.
Really?
Yeah, as like a background thing if you're like just hanging out and like if you're not kind of paying attention because that movie feels evil, man. Like, that is just an evil feeling movie. The performances in it are just so good.
I've recently been presented with the notion that I shouldn't have watched the extended cut.
No, I agree.
Or perhaps at all. Like, the original cut is the one.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well,
because the extended cut added some silly bullshit to it.
Exactly. Okay, yeah. That was the assertion, is just like, yeah, there's some goofy kind of demon possession business in the extended cut that's kind of gonna ruin it.
Yeah, and no, the best thing,
my experience, so.
The original cut, the best thing about it is that demon stuff is so slow, and there's just this feeling of fucking dread until like it actually comes out full force at the end-ish area. Okay. And that feeling is like what makes it. Seeing her do silly like things as a demon is
like
just
crab
dumb.
walking. is the key one, like downstairs or something.
Apparently that freaked a lot of people out. It's one of the funniest parts in like a horror movie ever, though.
Huh. Maybe I just watched it in the wrong like mood or like wrong day or something. But yeah, I wasn't really getting creeped out the way I expected to. But it had a big reputation by the time I was looking at it. So
Oh, totally.
maybe I'll look at it again in its proper cut and just with like a fuzzy memory of what it was like and see what that's like. But I
What do
don't
you think
know.
of like the Saw movies, even though they're not really that horror?
I never was a big fan, but I think I have the first one.
What about the original Wicker Man and just like watch people just not be impressed that they're at a party where you're watching the 1973?
Yeah, I don't
movie.
think that would go over well. Like Christopher Lee is
It's
cool
a good
and
movie
everything.
though, man. It's a good
I
movie.
don't. I mean, I like Nicolas Cage, so that new one is a watch, but not for anybody. Like that's not for any party.
Totally.
That's for Nick Cage fans. Like I like Poltergeist. I don't know if that fits. It might be too kind of family fuzzy, you know, like that Spielberg-y kind of stuff in there.
I liked Hellraiser as an option. I really like Hellraiser 1.
That movie's pretty tight too. It's like 90 minutes or something.
Yeah.
It's like pretty. It gets to it pretty quickly.
It does,
So that
for
might
sure.
that might actually fit pretty well.
It's not Rosemary's Baby, that's for sure. Yo, if you want to empty your party, put on Rosemary's Baby.
Just like no, you gotta wait, you guys. It's gonna no, just
Yeah. Wait, it's coming up. No, not this part. It's just her neighbors.
no,
not
it's
this
in
part.
like 45 minutes, but you know.
Actually, her neighbors in that are fucking creepy in a different way. But anyway, yeah, I don't know.
I like The Thing. I don't know if that fits. Like we talked about last week. I don't think Alien fits.
I like American Werewolf in London. That could
I
be
like that
fun.
movie too. Do you think that'll do the
I'm
crowd
not
thing?
sure. It's kind of hard to know like what crowd you're bringing to.
I got kind of a glimpse of like I think John Carpenter actually does play pretty well with like Big Trouble in Little China was on in a theater
Right.
and we kind of were there before the thing started and that crowd was laughing and just kind of going with it. That doesn't quite fit the spirit of this,
Right.
but
I mean,
don't know.
Assault on
Live
Precinct
or something.
13 is fucking great.
It's true. I don't know if that is horror enough exactly. It's-
No, but I'm just saying that, like, if we're talking about some, like, John Carpenter that you could get some people together and have a good time, that's a movie that never gets enough airtime, I think.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's pretty sharp. Oh man.
It's like a shittier Die Hard, honestly.
Is it shittier?
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause
'Cause-
Die Hard gets a lot of talk, but it
Die-
doesn't have that dope theme song. So
I mean, you're right,
like,
it doesn't.
It's not even close. Does the
Although-
little girl get shot while eating ice cream? Like, no.
Although, whatever the third one is now, I can't remember.
With a
Die
vengeance?
Hard Another Day. I don't
with
know.
a vengeance. But yeah.
No, the third one. The one with
That is the
Samuel L.
third-
Jackson.
Yeah, that is the third one. Die Hard with a vengeance.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right, actually. It's been
Die
so
Hard
fucking
2
long.
is Die Harder.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Die Hard 2 is one of my favorites, but that's only because of the whole airport scenario, really.
Okay. I should watch it again knowing what I know now.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll have a way better time.
Yeah, totally.
Good thing.
You should wait until it's, like, fully winter here, though, like after it snows and stuff, and you drive home late at night from the airport, and you're like, I'm going to watch a movie.
Throw in Die Hard 2. Okay.
Yeah, it'll feel right. Just trust me on that.
I'll
But
wait
no,
6 months.
what I was gonna say is that the first song in Die Hard with a Vengeance was that "Summer in the City" song.
Really?
And that was really good.
It's a pretty good song.
Yeah, so they get props for that. But you're right, I can't remember what the one in
The original
the
Die Hard
yeah.
like, kind of music is in there. No idea. But
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a movie called Creep?
yeah, actually, Hot Diggity Demon was kind of espousing its greatness recently
Okay,
on his Brain Dump show.
so it's good then. You're saying.
He likes it. I've kind of been thinking about it. Mark Duplass is in it. What have you been hearing? Like,
No, nothing. I literally just clicked through a bunch of different links and I saw the name and I was like, wait, what is that? And apparently it's
Okay.
a 2014 film.
yeah. His main thrust of his video about it is kind of justifying jump scares aren't terrible inherently. So I guess there's a bunch of jump scares in it.
Well, then
So
I'm not
just know
watching
that.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Or maybe. Well, okay, fine. If
You
just
love
gonna-
jump scares?
I don't love jump scares at all. But
Do you remember when we played
So
Slender for the first time?
yeah, I do. It's a lot of cursing, and I just when I got home and like downloaded that game, and then was just kind of like, what am I doing? I'm never gonna play this when no one's around.
Yeah.
Never gonna happen ever.
Like, it was bad
I
enough
launched
with
the
the room.
executable, like once or twice and got scared just doing that, and then it's like, what am I doing? Turn this off. So, and then I got the Arrival. I bought it.
Why?
I don't know why. I don't know because
That's really
I guess
funny.
it was like I can recognize that was a compelling experience,
Right.
but I never really want to do that. So anyway, what were you gonna say about Splendor?
No, it's how it's hilarious that you went home and like downloaded it or whatever.
yeah,
'Cause, like, yeah, if you were hesitant in a room like with a
full
bunch
of
of people,
friends, and it's just like, well, you can't play this by yourself, man. It's just you never sleep again.
like, it'll ruin you.
It's just you'll never look behind your back. Like pretty cleverly designed thing of just like
Sure.
looking is the thing, but
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, The Thing was the last thing I recommended.
okay.
Yeah.
I could see that being. That's the thing I'm worried about because like I did show Halloween, like hey, person never seen it through in Halloween. Just the pacing of it can be really slow, so I'm wondering if the thing has that too. But
You
I
know
tend
about the
to
game
think
Dead by Daylight?
Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
I guess not. I don't think
Okay.
so.
It is an asymmetrical multiplayer game where 4 people play survivors, 1 person plays a killer, and the survivors have to complete objectives and get out, and the killer has to kill them before they're able to.
Oh, okay.
So anyways, the reason I bring this up is that for Halloween, they got the rights to actually make the DLC Halloween pack.
Okay.
So the new survivor is Laurie Strode, Michael Myers is the new killer, and Haddonfield is the new map.
Okay.
It's fucking dope.
Sounds pretty good.
It's so good. Anyways, that's all.
All right, just play that at the party. Don't even worry about movies, interactive
Yeah.
stuff. That's what you want to do.
That's a game we should play together.
Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
So that's just permanent DLC. You can play the Halloween game whenever you want. Then
I mean, the
it's
whole
not like
like
a seasonal thing.
I'm not sure. I'm sure it's not because you have to
Okay.
you have to buy this DLC pack.
Okay, yeah, right. Okay, good.
Yeah, but like
was
the whole
like-
game is essentially that, like with different killers and different survivors and stuff.
Oh, I don't know. Sounds.
It's
interesting.
actually pretty fun, I have to say, and I
It's
don't.
just-
Yeah,
Since we're on horror video games, like, are you kind of keeping an eye on the Friday the 13th game that's being made, or?
oh
do you
no,
have
dude,
hopes for that?
totally. Yeah, so
Okay.
like this game, Dead by Daylight, like was announced at the same time Friday the 13th was, because I think somebody in their company got a leak and they're like, we gotta steal that idea.
Okay.
So
Like,
Yeah.
we gotta announce our thing too. Then, if they're gonna.
it
steal
was
the
at that
spotlight.
E3 like 2 years ago, maybe 3 now. I can't remember when it was.
Okay, like just in general, just like the idea of like, hey, there's a modern Friday the 13th game. It's like, well, of course there is. Like, there's this big horror wave of stuff going on right now.
Right.
But the video I saw didn't really help.
You mean
me
the
'cause
one
it was
where you're
just
just like-
savage murders? Like
Oh,
it was just
really?
Jason killing people for like 4 minutes, and it's
Oh.
just like, oh man, I don't know that I want to see this because this is like all the kill animations from the game.
So you didn't see the video of like a dude walking around a cabin and just like the sense of dread like becoming more and more as like he's seen weirder and weirder shit?
No, this was just
Oh.
here is a teenager, and then Jason does something horrible. Here's another one, does something horrible.
I kind of want to see what you
Here's
saw
another
now.
one, does something horrible. Like, it was just like, oh man, his machete got stuck in that person's head. Like, just like murder, just deaths. 4 minutes of deaths. It was just like, I feel gross. Shouldn't have watched that. But all right, they're making a new video game. No, I did not see any moody like what the actual game is like.
I think
trailers, so.
I think that it's a single player mode for that game.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I'll have to look more into it. But like,
Right.
I'm keeping an eye on it, but like, not intently because there hasn't been a whole lot of information.
Fair enough.
I have a weird dichotomy with horror games where I love them, but I hate them at the same time because I don't want to be stressed out while enjoying my hobby.
Yeah. It's definitely a strange balance. I mean, we've brought it up before. It seems to come up all the time, but like I felt Soma was the only one for me that I was like, I was more compelled to see it through than I was scared. So I was able to go through the whole thing.
I mean, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Being like in the dark depths of the ocean with a thing, no, I can't do that.
It's just like a personal thing.
The thing is, it wasn't even like a fear, like, oh, it's going to get me. It was just like, it made me feel so uneasy. I didn't have fun playing it.
Just overwhelmed
So
anything going on in the game.
Yeah, so I just ended up watching somebody's like end of like a Let's Play or whatever for that part.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I mean, if we're counting Resident Evil games like of a sort, like
Sure.
I would fight through those. But
Sure.
I guess maybe it's just this post amnesia kind of, you don't really have weapons, that kind of thing. Like you're not fighting.
I don't like that.
Yeah, like once it takes away that kind of any kind of recourse, like even Dark Corners of the Earth has guns and you can fight the monsters at some point. They put it off for quite a while, but there's a turn in the game where you have a gun now.
Sure.
So I did play through that, but that was a long time ago.
I never did play through that. I should do that maybe. I'm wondering if I'd
it's
like
so long ago. I have like, it's like, I think it was really good, but I mean, it was also 2003. So if you, or 2004 maybe, but
it. Yeah.
yeah.
Like
If
I know
you,
I have it somewhere, but yeah.
no idea how it holds up. I don't know. That might be all for this week. Unless
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. Was gonna be great. Just
No.
question out there. Okay.
You know why?
Hunger Strikes.
Well, he wasn't a middle-aged white male.
Oh, okay. Privilege.
Right. I should probably say I'm kidding before that gets like, well, it could still get clipped out wrong.
Okay.
Whatever.
We're just saying like, oh, you just defended somebody and there's gonna be petitions and
Yeah,
shutting us
exactly.
down.
Whatever. Fuck him. I'll just go on a hunger strike. It'll fix everything.
Court and controversy. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. All
Happy
right.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.